In this episode, we are going to show you exactly what you need to know to understand doing incident response type work in a DevSecOps kind of infrastructure, okay? So doing incident response in the cloud is much different than doing it on-prem. And we're talking with an expert who does it day to day, Archan, who's the content creator over at the Black Pearl YouTube channel, about what his day-to-day life is and what you need to know in order to have impact doing incident response in the cloud. Coming up. So when we think of traditional incident response and security operations analyst work, the traditional kind of on-prem infrastructure is what most people are used to. Now, with the advent of cloud, yes, there's an extended kind of infrastructure and footprint, but cloud has really allowed for this new kind of DevOps model with continuous integration and build process, micro builds, instead of kind of that traditional waterfall technique where you build and then test and then push to production. It's much smaller transactions and it's faster. And this allows businesses to scale up, scale down, test things and test new ideas in fairly cost-effective ways. It's all good for the business, which means that they're going to be doing it. But when you stop and think about how security operations works needs to happen, where are those logs, and are there any is there any value or benefit that can help a security operations analyst do their job leveraging that cloud infrastructure? And you'll hear the term DevOps quite a bit. That's kind of speaking to that paradigm, but you're also starting to hear DevSecOps, which is exactly what we're talking about today. So real quick before we get into the interview with Archan, if you're new here, let me introduce myself. My name is Jerry Ozier. This is Simply Cyber. It's a YouTube channel designed to help you make and take a cybersecurity career further, faster. And on this channel, we talk offensive and career, and sometimes we talk about the defensive side like today's episode. So if that's interesting, check out some of the other channels on the video. I post every Monday at noon. We got a great live stream coming up. If you are into security operations work like this video, we're interviewing 3 experts in the field on Thursday, March 18th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there's a reminder on the YouTube channel. You can check it out. There'll be a replay, but during the live stream, you can ask Q&A and really tap into that expertise. So hope you can join us. All right, so we're going to jump right into the interview now and really uncover what's going on. Be sure to stay tuned to the end because Archan's going to give us the 3 most important log files in an AWS infrastructure that you need to know about in order to maximize your impact as a SOC analyst, if that's the platform that your business is using or that you're looking to get into. And by the way, I might add, AWS owns a significant majority of market share, so understanding how AWS works can only help your marketability. All right, I got time markers down below if you want to jump to a specific question or come back and revisit a specific question just to make it more convenient for you. All right, let's go talk to Archan. All right, so thank you. This is Archan with Black Pearl on YouTube. Definitely check him out. It's all focused on digital forensics and incident response. So Archan, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks, Gerald. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I love your content on YouTube, but for those who don't know who you are yet, can you just kind of give us a little bit of a background?
Yeah, sure. Myself, like Archan Choudhury. And I'm from like India. So I am like in security industry almost like 6.5 years now. Mostly I have been part in blue teaming, and taken like part in like other stuffs also, like from threat hunt to incident response, then digital forensics, malware analysis. So I have done several roles around the SOC, and from there actually I thought like it could be a better time that I can give something back to our community as well, because there are a lot of study materials and training courses also available in the market, but to get to the industry right away and to get foothold of the current scenario, you need to be always on up on your toes, right? And getting right direction is very much important nowadays. So I thought to give something back through my channel, Black Pearl. So please check that out. So I am making several contents and playlist out there. So that's about it. I don't want to drag it.
Oh, of course, of course. So, when I think of, SOC analyst and kind of incident response stuff, I kind of think of the traditional, you're watching network traffic, you maybe hook into a SIM, some threat intel stuff. But your work when we were talking was really interesting because you are working more kind of in cloud and incident response within the cloud space, which, I preach on the channel all the time that cloud is really like a whole new paradigm and really worth people's time if they wanted to, kind of a niche career area. So, I guess, can you kind of talk about what the nuances is of incident response within, like when you're looking at cloud?
Yeah, okay. So like there are some different perspective when you say about like the core incident response on premises, and something is literally like different in cloud. So because we can think of like cloud is like someone's else computer, but you need to think of from that perspective that when you are operating on cloud, things can be easy and can be like hard at the same time, because in conventional way that when if there is an incident, let's talk about like ransomware. So if there is any ransomware in my organization and I am into on-premise conventional SOC, so I need to find out the ways, and I need to like run here and there to identify, okay, this box is like inside my warehouse. Okay, do we have actually someone to pull off the cable? Okay, if I want to do the forensics on that particular machine, is there someone who can take me the hard drive to me to my SOC? Okay, but in cloud it's like it's very easy job that you can do a simple click and everything is done for you. In the same way that incident response in clouds could be like like scary things also, because you don't know actually very much your environment on which actually you are working on. You don't actually have the idea of the segregation of the model on AWS works, like customer is also responsible and AWS is also responsible for handling security. And by the way, that when we say security, it's totally our responsibility. Okay, so that model you need to think, and you need to create your playbooks, you need to create your run books, and that's how it totally different in our like the use case also stays different when you talk about conventional SOC and SOC in cloud. Yeah, so the
Yeah.
idea is different. Yeah.
So I'm curious when you are doing, incident response with AWS. I mean, so a lot of professional organizations that are taking advantage of cloud, they're using continuous integration and they've got different environments with automatic, like, Ansible type stuff where it's just rolling through the environments with automated QA. So when you're doing incident response, I mean, are you just looking at production, or are you trying to, I mean, the SolarWinds attack, just to name one,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
that was like through the whole thing, like at the SolarWinds, when they got into the development side, they were able to bake
Mhm.
it in and have it roll right through the continuous integration. So what are you guys doing with incident response when you're looking at the environments and the kind of the DevOps life cycle?
Yeah, yeah. So I would like to say it like that way. So we do the incident response, and every incident it's like same prioritize for us. It could be QA, it could be dev, or it could be production. That doesn't matter. But you think of like that way in business, how the business actually runs, like so development, security, and operations. So we call it at DevSecOps. Right now, I have seen people like keeps throwing stone at each other, and it's very difficult, to get the CI/CD running, and it certainly becomes scary things to security folks. Now, when we need to think of like that way, that we are part of the same business, and we have to communicate more. So I have seen many scenarios like when people comes to us and they say, okay, hey Archan, this is a Visio diagram, and this is like the probable architecture that we are going to ship on next week. Okay, so I am like, okay, cool, but you could have reached me earlier, right? So I could have helped you better, right? So communication is the main worthy part that can be in the middle of DevOps. And talking about like the solar wind attack, which is like a supply chain attack. So that is a scary thing to all industry right now, that how we actually handle and bake the security into the pipeline when you are actually don't have much clue, because again, user is your main weakness point, right? And you keep on training them what are the best security postures, where actually uh, you can train them to not to do in cloud scenarios, then which code can be hard coded, which can be not. Then there are also like like several operational aspects also come into the picture, like if you talk about like GitHub or GitLab, like so there are tools which can be used to monitor your security aspects as such. Like if someone today, I have made a code public and I have made a repo public, and if there is any API keys hosted on that, so there are tools available in the market which actually you need to play and you need to create your runbook on those aspects. Okay, then only you will be able to identify, okay, if today, like today Monday morning at 2 a.m. I get a call that okay, one of my pod might got breached, and how it got breached, because I don't have any idea if I am not taking care of that CI/CD pipeline on the first place, right? So
Yeah.
it's a hazard job, but yeah, like we need to get there by working. So it cannot be like a uh, not possible through a 1 day job or 1 week job, but we need to get there by doing the training, doing the
Mhm.
improvisation of the process, and like and talking to people and make them aware. So that's the main motto.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So it makes me come up with two questions. One, when I think incident response, that's a big job and it's hard, but you're always involved when things have gone bad, right? But you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about getting involved with, kind of architecture builds and secure code development and, like things in the front end. So, basically incident response doesn't have to be called in. So are you like, I guess in the DevSecOps world, I mean, you're obviously incident response, but is there also an expectation that you're working on the front end to educate the developers and help make sure the architecture of the build pipeline is good, or is that under like a GRC function?
Okay, so like when we are so basically I can say like that way, if someone asks me to ship the code, so security folks cannot do that. Okay, so it's actually ultimately to the operational guys and actually the development guys, because they can write code better than us. Okay, and they know the environment on which they are actually making. Now our job is to like to sit with them, get into the room and get into the war room, like war mode, and to identify actually, because if we are meeting the criteria of the security matrices of our environment, or it could be any organization, right? So if you are working today on any like PCI DSS compliant, or like government agencies like US on FedRAMP, so in similar ways you need to ensure that the way your code ship is compliant. Okay, so and I have seen like many of the organization that communication doesn't happen at all. Okay, so we tend to know and we get to know in that point of time when everything is done. Okay, so that is the idea that okay, so security folks needs to come, and also the development folks needs to come into the same place, and they need to discuss about the thing that okay, see, I am building this and these things. Now what you say, to make it secure, to make it like more feasible and make it actually compliant, what I need to do. Okay, so I would come with my some points and I would show that okay, so you need to comply with these point. So ultimately it would be a pact with security and development, so that only the point it would go correct. Because if you are bound to do something with a real short time, you cannot be 9 out of 10 in security, right? So you need to plan it well to shape it properly. Okay, so that's the thing that we are currently trying to achieve when we say about like DevSecOps pipeline and pushing the security onto that controls. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's our job at the end of the day.
I can imagine. So
Yeah.
and the other question I was thinking of as you were talking is, one of the huge benefits of cloud, right, is that you can scale up wicked fast and have elastic architecture. So when you're dealing with an environment that is, basically there's an incident that you're investigating, maybe you haven't determined the scale of the incident. Are you able to quickly spin up like another production? Like what, I guess, what is the normal operations for containment? I mean, these cloud only businesses, they can't sustain bringing the production environment down. So I guess what's kind of the typical approach to handling, IR on a cloud system
Mhm.
to limit impact to production?
Okay, so that IR system like quite remains same in on-prem and cloud. So we take about the same step of procedure when what we take in on-premise also. But the thing is like so I would like to say main three scenarios that I can give you. So in that prospect, so one organization might be like totally unprepared. One organization might have been like semi prepared, and one is like the fully prepared organization. Okay, so in unprepared organization, what actually happens? So uh, they if there is any incident, having that incident actually, they might not be understand that okay, where I need to actually go, which things I need to sort it out, what is the uh, uh, because of the what is the actual cause of that incident. Okay, so in that area incident response becomes really bit difficult. And stay with me, because that's not a big deal, because uh, you can really transfer your load to a different pod, or you can really like spin up a new instance. And if you have the procedure, you can involve your vendors, be it like AWS, Azure, or GCP, doesn't matter. So they can actually help you to bring your business back within seconds. Okay, but you lost the chance actually if you are totally unprepared to do the forensic investigation, or to understand the RCA why it happened. Okay, now in the next step, the semi prepared one, so they have the actual control in the place. Okay, so they have different AWS accounts, they have different IAM accounts, different on the business units, and they have like somehow segregated, and maybe they are shipping their log to SIM also. So they might be understand at the position that okay, so this is the situation I have went through, this is the situation in front of me now, I have these steps. So they might not be able to fully covered with the runbook or playbooks, but they will actually be in a position that they have some logs with them. Okay, so they will be able to understand or identify what could be the probable reason to that incident happened, and they can remediate in such a way that in next phase, if the same kind of incident happen, I can create a run book, and it's like that a job for me. So that's how the semi prepared organization actually work on the incident response. And if you talk about the prepared and fully planned organization, so they have everything in place, they have the proper security control. If I talk about like AWS. So main thing is like identity detective control and the infra security and also data protection. So they have everything on place. Either they are using like security hub, which is actually integrated with guard duty, then like AWS inspector, Messi, everything they have in one place. And they have also their separated VPC, which is like the incident responder VPC. Okay, so what they actually do in that place, if today I have identified one SIM alert that one of my pod got compromised, so what I do a simple click and I remove that pod from production VPC. I attach to a IR VPC, which is, by the way, it's not you are not removing the network connection. You are simply making it offline and removing from production VPC to IR VPC. And meantime, you can launch a different same setup with the production, so your production keep on going. But in IRVPC, you are prepared well that you can do the forensic investigation, you have your tools, you have everything on that. So you can, even if your network connection is there, your malware or your attacker could be still getting or doing the C2 connections, right? So you can extract your IOC from that, and you can do the forensic investigation also. Like, so this is a actual scenario that we think of.
Yeah, no, that's like magical. Like that sounds like the way that the commercial would make it look, where you
Yeah,
click and a new box spins up and the infected one goes into
yeah,
quarantine for
yeah,
analysis. So that is really cool.
yeah.
So Archan, a lot of people, I mean, obviously this is a really tailored incident response capability, and one that's quite important, frankly. But for people who are trying to take advantage of or learn, IR skill sets, maybe they are a SOC analyst and they want to get
Mhm.
trained up on working in this kind of specific environment. What kind of resources, or where would someone start?
Okay, so now I need to put it like that way. If you are preparing for incident response, uh, there are a lot of resources. You need to just Google it, and you can check my channel as well. So I am preparing that for that reason only. And incident response is dependent on the process. Okay, so you need to get the correct process. You need to understand how the triage process works. That might not be very technical job at the first level. The technical skills and other requirements you can get into when you are actually doing the incident response. Okay, but technical skills you can run side by side when actually you are doing a particular kind of incident response. Okay, so now the thing is like when you are preparing for a IR role, you actually need to think of, okay, what type of role that I am trying to get into. Okay, so if I am trying to get into a L1 analyst or like a beginner analyst role. By the way, there is like the convention is actually changing that in cloud there won't be anything like L1, L2 or L3. Everyone has to do the same job. Okay, but I am talking about the conventional way, still the people, still how we actually think. Okay, so you need to think properly and you need to plan in that way. Okay, so you can do several certification in that the beginner level, that CEH is a good certification, security plus is a good certification. You can do CEH FI also if you are interested to learn little bit about forensics, and ECIH also a good certification. I won't recommend to firstly like for a beginner level to go of the SAN certification because they are like highly prized for any startup or like people like me at
Yeah.
least. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so what we can do, we can check out their indexes, what actually they are going to tell you about. And there are a lot of resources. You can go to Udemy, you can go to Coursera, and you can do the YouTube search on YouTube, and
Yeah.
you would
Well,
get
I
like
mean, and, here's your you mentioned this earlier, but this is Archan's YouTube channel where he is exclusively educating on digital forensics, incident response. I don't know if you completely minimize it to cloud only, but I mean, there's just a wealth of resources here for people.
Hey, thanks, Will. Thanks for flashing it up. And yeah, so it is not only to cloud. I am trying to show whatever the tools that I use. If I learn about something new tool and open source tool, so I make try to make a video out of it, how to use it. So people can take me that, okay, I am a point and click agent, but forensic investigation doesn't mean every time you need to open a hex editor, you need to do multiple things in coding. That might not work in actual life. Okay, if you have enough time at your hand, if you are writing some RCA, if you have like 1 month of time to write down and prepare your RCA, you can do all the magic at your hand. But if there is a fire in the hole and you need to settle that up, so that point of click agent would help you to get the quick facts from the incident. Okay, you can extract the IOCs, you can like you can, if there is any incident on your system, you can use autopsy tool, you can use volatility very much. So those are the tools you can have. It's available in the free market, and you search it, you get all the resources. So again, I would say that go by the indexes. What are the big trainers that would actually train you, like SANS, EC Council, and
Mhm.
you prepare your study plan according to their index. Okay, so ultimately it matters what you learn at the end of the day. The industry is moving on that direction from certification to skill. I take interviews lot of days now, so I don't really concentrate about what are the number of certificate people have. I only check that where the people actually have the proper skill. Okay, so and my boss also Jatin, so he also is like like we work on same direction. Okay, so industry is changing, so we need to change our thought as well.
Yeah. So, last question before we ask
Mhm.
people how they can connect with you. Um, how much how much of like, your traditional kind of incident response skill set is transferable to doing kind of cloud DevSecOps IR versus really like a new skill? If that question's clear.
Yeah, I got it. So if someone, it's like takes example of myself. Okay, I have been working on conventional SOC almost like 5 years at the beginning day of my life, and then I get the opportunity to work on cloud. Okay, now the skills what you have learned in your incident response, you need to improvise on top of that to include the cloud. That's only the difference. When I say that, if you know how to do incident response, how to run forensic analysis, how to run codes on your on-prem devices, so that will stick same on your cloud resources as well. uh, the main thing is that you get the opportunity to do the job very quickly. Okay, now, if I talk about forensic investigation doing on-prem, you get several free tools. Okay, there could be like commercial tools also. So that's the catch in using any commercial tool on cloud platform. If I talk about AWS, okay, so your job might be get hard if you are trying to use some commercial tool. People can argue with me on that point, but I have seen that is a challenge. Okay, so we need to try and we need to use some free resources. Let's talk about like OS Query. Okay, OS Query is a free tool and it gets a hell lot of data from your system. You can use it as your forensic tool and forensic readiness tool. You can use several other tools like AWS Margarita, AWS IR, and you need to quote them into such a way that you can use it to do the extraction the same way you used to do on-prem, and you can do it on cloud. So your skill set totally valid if you are working on-premise, and if you just want to ship that load to on cloud. Okay, so there are other tools also. In GitHub is a uh, like total repository for everything, right? You
Mhm.
click everything, and AWS Margarita is available on GitHub also. Send other.
AWS Margarita, like the drink?
Correct. Yeah, margarita. Yes, exactly.
Okay. I'm not
And
familiar with that. I'm not familiar. Is it called Margarita Shotgun?
correct, margarita shotgun. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Here it looks like
yeah.
I brought it up. Uh, uh, I'm not familiar. What would you use this for?
Yeah, so this tool is basically used to collect forensic evidence remotely. Okay, so if you are sitting somewhere and you need to capture some forensic investigation or forensic artifact on your tool, you just load the code up into your system, and you
Okay.
can do the automation using the Lambda also. Okay, so if your that comes into the again picture of your creating your playbook. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you create a playbook. You know that I would like into that step that you have your organs sitting up to the brain. Like organs could be like guard duty, could be AWS inspector, your VPC flow logs, your cloud trail configs, everything that is shipping log to your brains. That is our AWS CloudWatch. And AWS CloudWatch is thinking, okay, there is might be an incident. I need to look at it. So in that aspect, you might be a code running on your backend which triggers a Lambda function to take up the instance forensic artifact. Okay, at that time you can integrate Margarita with that tool, so it's become lives become easier in that way. So
Yeah.
there are several Lambda function you can write, and it's dependent on your playbook again which Lambda function to trigger at what time of incident. Okay, so lives is easier when you actually try to use the cloud features. If you think like, okay, I used to do the same job in on-premise, but I cannot do in cloud. That is not true. You need to improvise. You need to find the way how we can use the cloud, and believe me, it's like it works beautifully.
Yeah. So, just as you're talking about that, it gets me thinking around orchestration, which is really, I don't want to call it the buzzword, but like automation and orchestration is becoming more and more mainstream and more integrated into actual incident response processing. So, does does Margarita Shotgun and does AWS kind of facilitate orchestration a little bit more? And for those who aren't familiar, orchestration is basically like you set up rules where things automatically happen based on certain situations, so you don't have to have a human analyst clicking on things like Archan mentioned earlier with the machine dropping into an IR network segment and spinning up a new one. That could just happen if a certain level of infection is detected, and then notify the analyst to go into IR VLAN and start actually doing analysis. So I guess, how much is the cloud support orchestration, or AWS in this instance?
So it supports fully. Like you need to just develop your playbooks and runbooks on top of which use case actually you are picking, and then again you need to get back to your development guys and you need to say them, okay, see, this is my total scenario and I need to build on top of it. Okay, so you need to write a code which actually will take all of your logs and will actually parse your logs against a lambda function. Okay, so it's the total orchestration that you are talking about, Gerald. So it's available everything in AWS and it supports fully. I'm only talking about AWS because I use that very much, and I think the same can be possible in Azure and GCP as well, because they are just vendors is different. Okay, but the backbone is quite simple. So the thing is that you need to have the proper controls and proper logs, which is actually getting collected. Again, I would say that three main logs that from AWS point of view is very important, which is your AWS config logs, AWS VPC flow logs, and your CloudTrail logs. Basically, everything ships into your CloudTrail logs, your API commands, or everything, whatever happening in your AWS environment, and getting shipped into CloudTrail. Okay, you need to have that all your logs, and on top of that you prepare your CloudWatch, or even you can ship all to your logs into a like sim platform, or I can think of like elk. Okay, so you can ship all to your logs to elk and build your detection rules and your lambda functions on top of that. So if you do that, you can get the full picture running. You can notify, you can create your Slack channel up and running, you can
Yep.
do the investigation, and even you can take those. So Margarita, AWS Margarita and AWS IR, both tools supports that feature. Well, actually that I was talking about, like you remove the infected like instance from your production VPC to IR VPC. So everything is supported in that tool. You just need to trigger them with your code. So again, coding is a must in this area. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. There's a lot here to play with, and I really love that.
yeah.
I do a lot of videos, focusing on a certain topic, but I use AWS as the platform to build up and spin down, because it's just so easy and so nice. So there's a lot of opportunity for people to get
Yeah.
educated and learn. And thanks for calling out those three specific logs that people should really
Yeah.
be aware of, because that is kind of a shortcut for people. So
Yeah.
Archan, this is his YouTube channel. Seriously, if any of what we're talking about is remotely interesting to you, I'm telling you, this right here is ground zero for getting your feet wet and really moving in a direction that's going to make you an effective, SOC analyst, incident responder, whatever you want to call it, specifically in that cloud space. So, thank you on behalf of the community, Archan, for putting the time and effort into this channel.
Hey, not a problem, Gerald. And also I'd like to say that the topics that you are also working on, people need to see them very much, because I have seen your multiple interviews and they are ready to rock on fire, man. Because people need to understand what is actually the industry is going towards. Okay, because they can look into my channel in that perspective. Okay, if I think I need to move into that role, these are the things that I need to be prepared of. So you are making awesome contents on those areas, so I really appreciate that. And then, like, you can they can get back to my channel to get the technical skills what they might be needing. So I would keep on doing that, and I really appreciate your work as well, Gerald.
Yeah, thank you very much, Archan. All right, everybody. So it's Archan at Black Pearl. Check him out. And is there any other, like, do you have Twitters? Do you have LinkedIn? How do you want people to contact you if they want to kind of like get involved with you?
Yeah, so I am very much active on LinkedIn, so you can find that in my YouTube dashboard as well. So it's coming up there. So and I don't think it's not here, just in the background section, Gerald.
Right
In
here
top,
too,
yeah,
right? Yeah, we get you on
yeah,
this LinkedIn here. Yeah, so
yeah.
this is this is the Black Pearl, but yeah, I mean, this is Archan, so you can definitely get to him from here. All right, thanks, Archan. And yeah, definitely great information. There's some things I didn't even think about that he shared with us that I absolutely am grateful for, that I now know and can take that forward. So if you found value in that, hit the thumbs up button. Let me know this is the kind of content you like. If you have questions for Archan, you can either put them in the comments below and he'll get to them, or engage with him directly on LinkedIn, or check out his YouTube channel, Black Pearl. I'll put a link in the show description below. All right. Thanks, everybody, and until next time, stay secure.